Alright, so we are going to start drawing our mask. This is, of course, my old demonstration drawing, so I have a lot more done on this drawing than where you guys are at, so don't let that worry you. This is one I've already even started shading on. So we're going to start doing the mask. What you should have done already is that we have what I would call like a sort of like a cage drawn, a geometric cage drawn around our nose. We know where our ears are. We know where our mouth is, even though we haven't drawn it. And we know where the bottom of our chin. We have the outside edge of our head done. Of course, the eyes are already done. And then we have our neck and shoulders drawn. You guys still have to draw your shirt, your hair. I think those are the last things for us to draw on there. And then the next step is to shade. So for the mask, the important part about the mask is that we make this look like it's over this three-dimensional face. What we don't want to happen is that it looks like it's flat across. So I have an extra mask. This is actually the mask it's a different mask, but I'm wearing this one right now. So what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to worry about, and for some of you guys, you have patterns on it. So you can see I have this like flower pattern on this mask. I'm not going to worry about drawing any of that. I am going to draw, however, the different sections of the mask. So I have this front section, and then I have a section on the top and on the bottom. And then I am going to draw the strings, of course, attached to my ears. But I am going to ignore the pattern that's on this. So what you guys need to make sure that you do is that today, the mask that you're drawing today, you need to wear either that exact same mask, of course cleaned, when we go to shade it, or if you're like me, I have multiples of the same type of mask, just make sure you wear one that's the same design as the one you're drawing today, okay? So if I do wear this one again on the day that we shade, I am going to have to worry about that pattern then, okay? So keep that in mind too. If you have patterns on your masks, if you don't want to draw it, then make sure you're not wearing that, okay? All right, so the first thing we're going to do, I would start with your nose, okay? So we know where the bridge of our nose is. So for me, it feels kind of natural to go ahead and start in the nose area. Now, one of the things that you should also notice with your mask and how it falls on your face is that it doesn't go necessarily straight across. So you can see that it starts up here, probably high on your nose, slopes down, and it kind of curves a little bit. And that, again, is not just because of the mask, but it's also because of what it's on top of, your face, okay? So what I want you guys to do is start by drawing where you see the mask starting or hit your nose. So if you want to, you can, again, measure, maybe perhaps from, you know, you can do anything. You can measure from your eyebrow down to that spot to see how long that is. Or you can measure from your tear duct down to see how long that is. So, and you want to make sure, again, that when you put your pencil up against your face, it's straight. It's not laying on top of your face or against your face. It's in front of your face. So I'm just going to go ahead and kind of measure that and make that mark where that is. And I'm just going to make a mark on my nose where I think that needs to be. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my eyes, and I'm probably going to measure from my eyes down to the top of my mask just to get an idea of exactly where that needs to be. So again, I'm going to use my pencil, and I'll show you where I'm going to do this on my actual face. I'm going to put my pencil probably at the bottom of my eye, and I'm going to measure to where the top of my mask is. And hold on, let me get this. And I'm going to just measure and mark. I'm going to do it for both sides. I'm not going to assume that it's the same on both sides because my face is not, again, symmetrical. And I know that my mask is probably not perfectly symmetrical either. So one side might be a little bit higher than the other. So what I want you guys to do is get those 3 marks, okay? And I'm going to kind of just re-explain to you up in the classroom just where you should be measuring. All right, so now that you have those 3 points, now what I would do is just go ahead and draw this. Now you want to, again, make it look like it's wrapped around your nose. So we have this drawing here, so as soon as I get past this top part of my nose, I need to slope it. Mine slopes and then comes down. So slope it. That's going to make it feel like it's on something three-dimensional. Now again, my mask is different than your mask. Everybody's mask is a little bit different. And I think I need to actually slope mine a little bit more. There we go. And again, it's not the same on both sides, so don't get too caught up in that. Don't worry if the left doesn't look like the right. It probably doesn't. So we have the top part of our mask. So for me, I have some connections happening, and they kind of actually are in line with this. So if you have any, I'm going to kind of go ahead and draw this out. I'm going to go ahead and draw this. So the design of my mask has a little bit, I have different sections to my mask. Everybody's going to be a little bit different. All right, so kind of drawing that. Now again, we're going to do some fixing once we kind of get this initially on. The next thing I want to do is I want to figure out where the outside edge, and I'm going to show you here on this, where the outside edge of my mask is against my face. So what I can see, one, is that I actually can't see the edge of, I can't see any skin of my face past this edge. So I know that my mask is going to go all the way out here. And I also cannot see any part of my jawline because that's also getting cut off from that. So I know that my mask is going to go past the edge of my face. Now yours might be different, so don't assume that yours is going to be exactly like mine. And again, I'm using my face as my guideline. So to make this look like it's on top of my face, I need to put it on top. So these edges, the edge of my mask is not going to match up with the edge of my face. In fact, for me, my mask goes beyond it. And it does come in just a little bit. Comes up higher. All right, so let's see where the outside edge is. Okay, so I'm going to zoom into this. So you can see a little bit better. So as you can see, I've drawn my mask past the edge of my face because that's what I see. I cannot see the edge of my face right here. It's covered up. So that means this mask needs to go past the edge. And then it does kind of come up and out. Okay. Now, the bottom of my mask, again, I cannot see the chin. In fact, my mask goes beyond my chin quite a bit because, again, if I put my finger, on myself right up against my chin, I can still see some mask underneath it. So I need to put this mask or make it look like it's going quite a bit past my chin. So I kind of created all of these steps. You guys can still see where my chin is. So I'm going to keep the drawing of my actual self in here for now. So I kind of got the bottom, got the sides, and I've got the top. So now what I can do is I can work on connecting it. Okay? So that's going to be the next step. So what I want you guys to do is make sure you feel good about the top, the sides, and the bottom. And again, really pay attention to all of these areas, especially the sides. Ask yourself, can you see any part of your face beyond the side? If you can't, then you need to make sure that the edge of your mask goes past the edge of your face. And then again, look at your chin and ask yourself, does my mask go past the chin? And for me, it does. So I need to make sure that this mask goes lower than my chin. All right? So I'm going to look around and look at your stuff, and then I'm going to talk about how to just connect all these parts. Okay, so now that we have an idea of where the outside edge of our mask is, the top and the bottom, again, in order to make this really feel like it's on top of our faces, we need to make sure that for those of you who cannot see the edge of your face, your mask needs to go past the edge. I can't say that enough. It needs to go past it. If you can't see the edge of your face, this mask needs to go past it. Same thing with all the, the chin. If your mask goes beyond your chin, it needs to go past that edge. You don't want to match up these lines, because if you do, and I actually need to fix this right here, if you do that, then it's going to look like you have something painted on your face or drawn on it rather than actually on top of it. Okay? So this is how you make something look like it's on something. And we're going to do the same thing with our shirts. I'll kind of show you guys down here. You can see, and I'll even redraw here. You can see where my original shoulder line was, and in order to really make these clothes look convincing and realistic, you have to draw them on top of it. So it needs to go beyond that edge. All right, so back to the mask. So now what you're going to do is you're going to connect all of this, and you're going to make it fit the mask that you have on. So for me, I have some seams. Again, I'll kind of pop this up here. So I have a top section, I have a bottom section, I have this seam that goes across here. So I'm going to deal with those. I also have this kind of crease in the middle of my mask that I'm going to probably need to put in too. So now it's all about really connecting it and how it pertains to the mask that you're wearing. So what I'm doing is not going to necessarily match up to yours. So what I would do is go ahead and start working on that. I need to draw the other parts of my mask. And again, my mask is not going to match up to yours. And because we're dealing with, some of you guys have paper mask, some of you have really thick fabric, there's going to be bends and creases in it. Embrace that. So it's not going to be all nice and smooth and perfect. Find those bends, put them in. That's going to make it feel more cloth-like, okay? If you make it look too nice and neat, it's not going to be convincing. So I would say embrace those bends. I'm even playing around, kind of exaggerating them a little bit more than what needs to happen. So just play. Play around with your drawing. And think about what's underneath here. So right now I'm dealing with the area that's right up above my nose. So I want to make it look like it's really curving around the nose. All right, so I've kind of got that. If you have seams like I do, then that might be a good thing to kind of attack and draw. So I'm using those as landmarks. And then, again, I like to go through and just find areas to add. You know, I'm looking at my mask. I'm trying to find areas that are bending, popping out, things like that, because I want to really add those details in to make it feel like a piece of fabric on top of my face. And if you guys have a pencil eraser, it is helpful to have like an eraser on the end of a pencil to get into some of these tight areas. Unfortunately, I don't have one right now, so one that works out really well. Problem I'm finding is that every time I move my face, my mask changes, so mask problems. Okay. So once you get a good place on your mask, as far as the outside, I would, though, still keep, you know, we have all of this stuff that we've drawn that's underneath here, so we see the edge of our face, we see our mouth should be, we have that cage that we drew around our nose. I would keep all of that because we're going to need to know where that is for shading too. But we will eventually get rid of that. Okay? So the next step is going to be the ties or the straps that wrap around your ears. Now for me, I will have my hair covering up one of my ears, but remember, everybody needs to show one ear. So you guys can go ahead and draw those. And again, you need to, and I'll show you, you need to make sure that it looks like it's going on top. So I'm not going to draw this strap so that it just stops in the ear. I need to draw the strap so that it looks like it's going above the ear. There we go. Start a little bit lower. And then I'm going to kind of pop it in here. And the little detail that's going to be really key here, make that strap wider here in the front and make it get smaller as it goes back. That's going to make it look like it's going back in space. Another thing that, you know, you guys all know, we all know that things get smaller as they go back in space. but for whatever reason, it's hard for people to remember to do that detail in their drawings. I actually cannot see my bottom strap, so I'm only drawing the top. And I'll see only part of this one because my hair will cover up the rest. That's not the right angle. Okay, so you can add your straps. The other thing too, at least with my mask, I can see, because of the way my mother-in-law sewed these masks for my family, is that I can see how thick the fabric is on these top seams. So I'm going to go ahead and draw that in. So that's another detail. If that's something you see, draw that in. So I can see again how thick the fabric is where she made this seam with these two pieces. Actually, I don't really see it here on the top, but I see it here on the side. Now, if you have pleats or anything like that, make sure you include those. Okay, zoom out. Oop, that's not the right button. That's as far as I can go. All right, so I'm going to walk around, see what your mask look like at this point. They should look transparent. I'm still messing around with mine. All right, I'm going to see what you guys have. Next step is going to be hair. All right, so once you have all your details, at least the ones that you can put in right now, again, if you have I've got these seams right here. If you've got one that has a lot of like pleats in it, you want to draw those in. Even too, if you can see the shapes that the shadows and highlights are making on your mask, that's a helpful thing to also indicate, which will just kind of give it a little bit more structure and all that kind of stuff. So we're not going to shade this now. We're going to continue with the drawing. We're going to go to the hair next. So the hair is the last thing for us to draw. And then the next thing is all about shading. So we're going to draw our shirt on. We'll probably draw the shirt on the same day that we shade it. So, all right? So that's next.